Have you played a match in Squad Busters, built what you thought was the best possible squad, only to be busted by another player? Yeah, me too. Today I'm going to provide you with tips for building a squad fast and things to look for when encountering another squad, also known as squad versus squad interaction. So as you know by now, Squad Busters is a very fast-paced game compared to other Supercell titles, which means that you need to be able to make strategic decisions within seconds to develop a squad that can collect the most amount of gems and possibly endure assaults from other squads so you maintain a top 5 finish. When going into a match, I always try to review the character chest options prior to starting the random spinner. Now this is easier said than done because once you get into the rotation of clicking play back to back, it's easy to overlook, and I've been in matches where I don't even know what's coming from the chest. I personally use this to identify whether I have the farmer trader option, which means that as the farmer like Greg or Mavis collects coins, the trader is producing additional gems. This is great synergy between these characters. A farmer and trader, you don't even really need to go to the center of the map. Or will I need to NPC farm with bow? The modifier itself doesn't really change my outlook on this strategy, minus the fact that I might be able to pull more loot faster from mods like Loot Goblin Rush, Pinata Party, and Gift Critters. Now the trick to build a bigger, stronger squad fast in Squad Busters is fusion, and you will want to fuse your characters as often as possible to keep the chest prices low, because as those prices get upwards of 30 coins or more, it's going to become more difficult to fuse characters that you collected or drafted earlier in the match. When drafting characters from a chest, you should have two things in mind. Are they going to benefit you by collecting resources quick, provide you turbo boosts, or add damage dealing to the group? The second is, are you going to commit to fusing those characters as quickly as possible? Now there are some exceptions to this, like Hog Rider. In my experience, fusing Hog Rider doesn't provide an overwhelming amount of benefit, but by having just one in your squad can continuously generate turbo boosts as long as he's in grass. I think he's one of the better speedsters in the game, and he's definitely helped me bust other squads thanks to all those stacked boosts. So I think the best way to showcase all this is to provide you a couple of examples of matches that I did earlier, starting with this first one, which was realistically the farmer's approach, where we had a Mavis and a trader available in this match. So we know that we want that incredible synergy between a farmer and the trader to continuously generate those gems. We also have a speedster and chicken, and then we have Mortis, and we have some defenders and Barbarian King and Nita. And for this one, our modifier was actually chest imposters, which means chests come alive and they try to attack you, and you have to be really careful because they do a lot of damage to your squad. So we're going to start out with our first selection, and in this case we were offered Mavis. So we're going to go ahead and start out with a farmer. Now when it comes to starting with a farmer, you have to pay attention to other squads around you, that way you're not busted immediately. So we're going to go to a carrot patch and we're going to pull exactly 3 coins to open the next chest. We were offered trader, so we're going to go ahead and start working and committing to the fusion of both Mavis and trader. So we're going to go to our next chest with the price of 5, and we're going to go ahead and pull a trader. Then we're going to take on this box, pull a boost boot and a little bit more coins, grab some of the hidden loot there, and then we're going to have to take on this next chest. A little bit of a funky throw of the freeze spell, but we also have that other squad up top that we're trying to avoid. We really do not want to run into him, nor do we want to engage with him. So we have 2 Mavises and 2 traders. The thought process here is to get to the next carrot patch, pull some more coins and gems, and open up the next chest. So there we go, we got that, and we're going to go to the chest price of 15, and we're going to go ahead and fuse Mavis and get out of there as quickly as possible because there was a squad running up on us. So we're looking for another carrot patch. We're going to take the loot there, and then we're going to open our next chest, which is going to be, I think we pull a trader out of this one, dealing with a chest imposter, and we're going to go ahead and fuse trader there. So now we have a fused trader and a fused Mavis, and we do not need to pull any more of those from the chest. Now we're working on those barbarians, those colts, those bows, and that's just because we're really in the farmer's mindset with this particular build. We're going to go ahead and pull some more carrots. The chest price is 10, and we're going to pull another barbarian. So Ideally, I would have liked to have fused Barbarian here, but I think I got distracted because I think in this next chest we actually pull Chicken. Now, don't count Chicken out. When he's fused, he's actually quite powerful and will surprise other players. But again, with his, he only gets a couple of boosts and you'll run through them really fast. So you don't want to stay on that turbo button the whole time. You really need to conserve those boosts because you might need them against other squads. We pulled a Mortis there. When you use Mortis, he takes out NPCs and he will respawn them to fight with your squad. Next, we pull a Pam because of the healing capabilities, and we're really trying to assess. We're in the center. We don't want to take on other squads, so we're going to decide to take down this giant skeleton, and you'll notice the gems that kicked out from the trader. Always pay attention to that because he will throw them everywhere, and you might run away and miss out on some really easy gems. Now, we have some squads up top, squads to the right, so we go outside, and we're going to go to this next chest, and I think at this point we are very close to the 1 minute mark. We're going to run into a squad and we're kind of deciding, are we going to chase him or are we going to run away? We decided not to chase him, and I recommend not doing that because a lot of times you'll spend more time chasing after a squad trying to take them down than you are collecting gems in very serious situations. Now we're under the 1 minute mark and my entire strategy changes. We really are not worried about fusing anymore. Now we're just trying to beef up the power of what is our squad, and we're trying to pull like Barbarian King, Archer Queen, and maybe Witch, and try to stay competitive within the match. We're running into a couple of squads and we're trying not to get caught between squads. The chest menace just exploded and we're going to try to pick up a bunch of gems to stay in the top 5. Right now we're currently number 2, and I'm trying to decide, am I going to chase down a squad, which we do right here. It's normally best to try to take on a squad from behind when they're running away because you can pick off the straggler units. Right there, we did have a chicken that we were trying to take down, but we just ran out of boost. So I had a decision to make. Am I going to chase another squad, or am I going to try to steal some more gems from the chest menace to try to steal the win? We're in second place. We're very close. We're going to run in there, pick up a few more gems, and just in time pull out this win. But that was the farmer's mindset. We didn't really have the squad to take on other squads, so we were trying to stay clear, not run in between other squads, and just secure the win. In this next match, we have Greg, we also have Bo, Colt, and looks like we will have Hog Rider. Now, if you notice that I have a couple of upgrade options here, I'll explain that in a different video because we're purposely not upgrading these already super characters. Now, I believe our modifier for this one was Loot Surge, and when it comes to Loot Surge, you don't really need to pick a farmer, but also the coins that are available aren't as often, and you might be beneficial to pull a farmer. So in this case, I actually chose to go with Greg, and we're going to go ahead and just kind of ignore the gold, even though sometimes I just run around, but you're very limited on the boost and how many coins you're able to get. So I chose to go with Greg. We're going to go ahead and draft another Greg with the intent to go ahead and fuse him as soon as I get another option. We're going to go ahead and pull Bo there because Bo is very powerful against the NPCs, and we can farm those as we farm trees. We're going to pull another Greg. There goes our first fusion, and now we get that spawn of all those different spells. We're just going to launch spells everywhere because a lot of times we might be working towards collecting spells to get a new one. So whenever this happens, I just start launching spells all over the place, and it doesn't necessarily have a rhyme or reason. We're going to open up our next chest at a price of 10 and pull another bow. So it looks like we have 2 bows, we have a Colt, and we have a Greg. So the shooters will pick off the skeletons around as the Greg takes down trees. We're going to go ahead and pull another bow and fuse him. That's 2 fused characters from this point, and next we're going to pull a chicken. So chicken will give us boost boots, and we're trying to find our way to the center at this point. We're going to take on this NPC right here and also deal with the cannons. Now, we don't want to take on a ton of damage because our squad is still really small, and if we run into another squad, we could get taken out really easily. Our next chest opening, we're going to pull an El Primo, and we tried to steal that key and it just didn't work out. So we took down a few NPCs, opening up our next chest, and we're committing to fusing chicken if we get another option for one. We're going to take on this elixir golem, and we're also watching to see what other squad was going to do. He ran away. We're going to pull chicken, and we're going to go ahead and fuse it to generate more boost boots. We're up to 7 of those, and now we have 3 fused characters. So we're really in a great position to start working on what's next, our Archer Queen. Next, we're going to see the gems populate. We're going to run around and try to pick up a bunch of those while trying not to use our boost as much because chickens Chicken does not like regenerate boosts. You have to generate those by pulling him from the chest. So our next pull will be Hog Rider. Now, Hog Rider, in my opinion, is probably one of the best speedsters because if you sit in grass, he will continuously generate and get those turbo boosts, and you can chase after squads. It's perfect. So taking on a few NPCs here, and then we're going to see an explosion of a bunch of coin bombs, and we're going to pick up a bunch of those. We're up to 91 coins because of our farmers and the fact that we're taking down NPCs so fast because Hog Rider allows us to run around and speed attack. So we're going to take on this tree. And I want to point out this particular engagement versus the squad. There's going to be bots in some of these matches, and you can normally tell that it's a bot just by how they interact. Are they going to chase you, or are they going to run away really slow? So I identified that this was clearly a bot, and we're going to bust that to get a free key and steal all of the gems that were collected by that bot. A lot of times you're going to see them, don't ignore them, bust them because they're not going to engage just like a normal player. So we're on the outside because there's a lot of action in the center. Looks like the gem mine is open, and now we're in our last minute of the match. So we're in beef up mode, and we're trying to collect characters like Archer Queen, Barbarian King. We also got a healer in there, and we're going to start dealing with a couple of squads. We noticed that that one was a little bit too big. We really didn't want to take him on because he might bust us. We just fused an Archer Queen, which is going to be very devastating for the next group of squads that we're going to run into. The last chest I think we pulled was a witch. We're going to throw the skeleton barrel, and we run into him. And pay attention to those sounds when you run into another squad. There's two different audios that you're going to hear whether you bust a character or they take out one of yours, and that kind of indicates whether I need to run away or should I chase him further. In this case, we were perfect. We just continued to chase other squads because we had the power from Archer Queen, we had the speed from the Hog Rider, and we also had a few other fused characters. So that last match was a lot of domination versus other squads because of all the characters that I had fused, but not every single match goes that way. So this one's actually a really good example of not chasing squads. I show you that a lot. So we had a few options with some farmers and bow and goblin, and I believe the modifier for this one was Pinata Party, which tells us that there's a lot of free loot around the map that we don't necessarily need a farmer, or we don't necessarily need to draft one. So our first option here was bow. We chose to go with bow because it is Pinata Party. We can pick off these free coins and gems or whatever's offered here and open up chests. So we're going to stand by this next chest. We just weren't fast enough to get up there, and we're going to go ahead and draft Goblin. So Goblin is really great for free coins immediately, but you also have to be aware that Goblin's very squishy against other squads, and he normally gets taken out really fast. Next, we choose to draft Mavis, and we're going to take on some carrots here. And so we have three different characters, and I think we're going to go ahead and stick to fusing Mavis because of where we're at. And if we can double up on all those coins and gems as quickly as possible, it's going to go great. Now, if we just stole a key from another player, that will happen from time to time. So if you do take down an NPC or something that gives you a key, try to pick that up as soon as you can because somebody's going to try to steal it, i.e. me. So next we're going to draft Chicken, and we have, we're going to go ahead and pull Goblin next. So we have two Goblins, get some free coins, and we are going to stop and take on all this free loot from these pinatas, as well as taking down the bowler, and then rush in on our next chest selection. I believe we went ahead and fused Goblin here, so we get a bunch of free coins there, taking on another pinata, and we're up to 36 coins at a chest price of 15. So we pulled Chicken. We're going to use the bomb to take out that tree. It's actually a really great option if you do not have Greg available. And next we're going to pull Colt. So we have a Colt, we have a bow, we have a fused Goblin, as well as a fused Mavis, and we're just under 2 minutes left in the match. So we're just kind of staying to the outside because I wasn't really feeling confident, and you'll start to feel that way after you get used to building your squads and dealing with other squad interactions. So we went ahead and fused Chicken there, so we have 3 fused characters now. We're going to take on this carrot patch, go into a couple of NPCs. We're up to 44 coins at a chest price of 20. So sometimes you really don't want to get distracted on just collecting a bunch of resources and not opening chests, because if you don't, then you're not going to have the squad built in in case another squad runs up on you. So now we have another bow. We have a third bow, which is going to activate the fusion for that. So now we have 4 fusions, and we're just kind of picking off some resources here, and we're going to go up into this next chest, and I think we're going to go ahead and pull a Pam. No, instead we pull a Nita because of the tank ability. So we had added a tank to our squad, and we're going to run into an El Primo that just body slammed us. So we're going to chase after him, and this is where that example of chasing squads just isn't really the best option. Unless you have a Hog Rider and a bunch of boots built up, it's really just not a great option. So we went ahead and took down 2 of his characters. I'm still chasing, and he's going to activate a rage, and we just do not want to go against him. So we're going to run up into the next chest, and I think we're going to go ahead and pull a Hog Rider. This is where our speed comes into play, taking on Baby Dragon, and we're going to run into a bunch of different squads. This is where things get really, really sketchy, and you don't want to stay there very long. Some players might decide to, but this is also where you might get jumped by another squad. So we kick outside, we go pick off a few more carrot patches, and we're going to go ahead and draft a witch and start boosting the power of our squad by trying to open up these epic chests and grab Barbarian King, Archer Queen, or Witch. We're going to chase another squad. Again, I'm doing the same thing I'm telling you not to do, but I did it. I chased after this squad, wasted way too much time. I'm sitting in 3rd place with 106 gems. I'm trying to decide whether this guy's going to chase me, and then we're going to run into 2 more squads. This is where I get a loss. I take a loss on a character because I ran into a giant bomb in between 2 different squads. We're going to drop down to 5th place, and this is where I just say, you know what? Let's just see what happens. I run up behind a squad, take out a few of his characters to grab the gems to land myself in 3rd place in this map. I really hope this video helps you understand squad building and squad versus squad interaction a little bit better, but if you're still new to Squad Busters, be sure to check out my starter guide linked below.